I should have walked away the moment I saw her. The neon-lit alley smelled of rain, oil, and danger. 3 scents that should have warned any sane man to leave immediately. But curiosity, as it always does, tugged me forward. The figure crouched beneath the flickering streetlight was unlike anyone I had ever seen. She was lithe, with movements precise enough to make a panther look clumsy. Her long, dark hair clung to her shoulders from the drizzle, and her eyes, sharp, calculating, almost inhuman, followed every shadow that moved. I was barely 10 feet away when I noticed them. 5 men, broad-shouldered, tattoos crawling up their necks, hands twitching toward weapons. But it wasn't the weapons that struck me. It was the calm in her stance, the way her body seemed ready for a fight that no one could hope to win. The first man lunged. In one fluid motion, she pivoted, grabbed his wrist mid-strike, twisted it until I heard the faint but telling crack of bone, and flung him into a dumpster with such force that trash cans rattled across the alley. I blinked. The second man charged, more cautious this time. She sidestepped with grace, slamming her elbow into his ribs, spinning him around like a rag doll before he hit the wet pavement. By the time the third man realized he was next, it was too late. She had already disarmed him, twisted his own knife from his hand, and rendered him unconscious with a precise strike to the temple. I didn't even have time to react when the fourth man, a brute with a face scarred by old brawls, screamed as she flipped over him, landing behind him, snapping his neck with a speed that left no room for horror, only stunned silence. The fifth man froze. Unlike the others, he didn't attack immediately. He hesitated, eyes darting between his fallen comrades and her live, lethal form. "Enough," he said. His voice had authority, calm and measured, yet it carried the weight of someone who had seen horrors that no one should ever witness. She paused mid-motion. Her body, which had moved like liquid mere seconds before, stiffened. Her breathing, previously steady, hitched ever so slightly. Then his words, the ones that should have been ordinary, tumbled from his mouth and froze her in place. "Amara." The single word echoed through the alley, like a shockwave. She went still, eyes wide, and for a moment, it was as if the 5 men, the rain, the neon lights, and even the world around her ceased to exist. Amara. That name carried history, weight, and secrets that even I couldn't begin to fathom. It had started 2 years ago when Dr. Elias Rowan, had been recruited to work on the Tarsus Project, a clandestine operation funded by a coalition of private corporations and rogue government agencies. Our mission was simple on paper. Unlock the potential of human cognitive augmentation, blending neural interfacing with physical enhancement. But the deeper we delved, the murkier it became. The project had a dark side, one that included creating operatives capable of feats that would make ordinary people weep in disbelief. Amara had been one of the first. Once a brilliant neuroscientist herself, she volunteered for the augmentation program, though that was only part of her story. Something about her defiance, her unwavering will, made her unique among the candidates. They had promised her freedom, a chance to use her gifts for good. But the corporation behind Tarsus didn't care about morality. They wanted weapons. Human weapons. And she refused. I remember the day she disappeared from the labs. No one knew how she slipped out. The surveillance footage was corrupted, the guards found unconscious, and every digital trace of her existence erased. It was as if she had been rewritten out of reality. I had thought that was the last I would ever see of her. Until tonight. The alley was silent now, save for the heavy rain and the faint hum of distant hover cars. She stood over the 5 unconscious men, her chest rising and falling rapidly. I took a cautious step forward. "Amara," I said softly. My voice carried the weight of years, memories, and unspoken promises. Her head snapped toward me. Recognition flickered in her eyes, quickly masked by caution. "Elias," she breathed, the name tasting foreign on her tongue, yet familiar enough to pull me closer. "I should have known you'd find a way out," I said. "You've always been extraordinary." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice wavered. It was a shield, a thin veil over the fear and anger simmering beneath. "I know enough," I said. "I've been searching for you since the night you vanished. Every lead ended with a dead end, except this one. And here you are." Her eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't have come here, Elias. They'll trace this. They'll find you." "I don't care," I replied. "Not anymore. You're freed if you want it. But not like this, not on your own against them." For the first time, she looked uncertain. Her formidable stance faltered as if years of solitude and survival had left her unsure of how to exist outside the constant fight. "You don't understand what they did to me," she said. "What they made me become." "I understand more than you think," I said. I held up a small device, no larger than a pocket watch. "This is a neural synchronizer. It can interface with your enhancements safely. With it, you can control your abilities without killing everyone around you. You won't be a weapon anymore. You'll be you." Her gaze flickered between the device and me. The weight of the name, Amara, mixed with the memory of who she was and who she had been forced to become. Her fingers twitched toward it, hesitation written in every line of her body. Finally, she took it. The moment the synchronizer touched her skin, a ripple of light traced her veins, illuminating the alley in electric blue. I watched, holding my breath, as the transformation completed, not a physical change, but a liberation of her mind. Her movements slowed, steadied, and the tension in her body dissolved. For the first time in years, Amara smiled. "Elias," she whispered, "you've kept your promise." "I always will," I said. But the world we had escaped from wasn't ready to let us go. The rain had barely stopped when the sound of engines, silent, hovering, predatory, cut through the night. From the shadows emerged vehicles I had only seen in schematics. Tarsus enforcement units, armored drones, and soldiers augmented far beyond human limits. "They've found you," I said, drawing my own weapon. "We have to move, now." Amara's eyes glinted with a mix of fear and determination.
"No," she said.
"Not running this time. Let them come." I wanted to argue, to insist that discretion was wiser, but I knew she was right. This time, she would not be prey. This time, she would be the force. The first wave hit. 6 soldiers emerged, weapons raised, their cybernetic augmentations glinting in the dim light. Amara didn't hesitate. In a blur, she struck, spinning, flipping, disarming, incapacitating. Each move was precise, calculated, lethal, but controlled. No one was killed this time, only neutralized. I stood beside her, marveling at the transformation. For a fleeting moment, I saw the girl I had once known, the friend, the partner, the brilliant scientist, merged with the warrior she had been forced to become. And she was whole. Hours later, we were in the ruins of what had once been an abandoned warehouse, now our sanctuary. The rain had stopped completely, leaving the city in a haze of mist and neon reflection. Amara sat cross-legged, the synchronizer still glowing faintly against her skin. I handed her a cup of hot liquid I had managed to scavenge from the warehouse's generator-powered kitchenette. "You look human again," I said, almost in disbelief. "I am human," she replied, though the words carried the weight of years spent in denial. I just forgot what that felt like. We sat in silence for a while, listening to the hum of the city beyond the walls. The 5 men we had incapacitated earlier remained unconscious, tied up for interrogation, but the immediate threat had passed. "Elias," she said finally, voice soft. "Why did you come for me? After all these years, why now?" I met her gaze, the memory of her name still reverberating through my chest. "Because I promised I would. Because I knew you weren't just a weapon. You were and are so much more than that. And because I couldn't let them win." She smiled, a slow, genuine curve of her lips that lit up her entire face. "Then I suppose we have work to do." "Yes," I said. "We do." And in that moment, with the city sprawling endlessly before us and the night finally quieted, I knew one thing for certain. Amara was back. Not as a tool of war, not as a shadow in the night, but as herself. And together, we would take down anyone foolish enough to think they could control her or me. The world outside might be cruel, corrupt, and relentless, but inside that warehouse, among the shadows and neon glow, Amara and I had found something worth fighting for: freedom, trust, and the promise that some names, some people, are worth everything. And as she looked at me, eyes bright and unyielding, I knew the story of Amara wasn't over. It was only beginning.